Hello children, welcome back to your English grammar class. In this video, we are going to learn a very interesting topic which we generally come across while asking questions. Yes, you are right. We will be learning WH words of English grammar. Children, do you know there are two main types of questions? Yes or no questions and WH questions. Yes or no questions are general questions whose expected answer is either yes or no. While WH questions are questions starting with WH words like who, whose, whom, what, when, where, which, why, and how. Children, are you confused to see how here? You might be thinking that why, how a WH word, right? Well, let me explain you. Can you see W and H? Yes, although it is not in sequence, but it has W and H, right? So, how is an exceptional one and we use it to ask a question. So these 9 WH words are used to ask about specific qualities, times, places, people, and so on. Children, sometimes when I ask you some question and you are unable to utter any word, then what do I say? Yes, I say, why are you quiet? Say something, right? Do you know why do I say that? Because when I ask a question for any information, we expect an answer other than yes or no. So, before we learn the purpose of each WH word, let me quickly introduce you my best friend Sam. Sam is my best friend who is a 9 years old boy. I like Sam the most in our class and he is the one with whom I share my bicycle. He can speak 2 languages, English and Hindi, and good at sports too. His favorite games are football and badminton. After school, Sam goes for football training for an hour because he wants to be better at it. And every evening at 6 p.m., Sam and I go to play badminton in the school stadium. The school is only 1 kilometer away from Sam's house. So, I pick him up every day on the way to the stadium. We go together on my bicycle. And it takes only 10 minutes to reach the school. As soon as Sam comes back home, he does his homework. So children, that's all about my friend Sam. Now, if I ask you questions like who is Sam, where do we go every evening? Children, do you know how do we respond to WH questions? Yes, we will be learning that, but before that, we should know how do we form WH questions. Always remember that question sentences start with special words called WH words and always end with a question mark. Now let's see how do we form WH questions with an auxiliary verb. So the simple structure is WH word plus auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb and followed by the rest of the sentence and question mark. Children, auxiliary verbs are helping verbs, okay? They are not main verbs, so do not get confused. And remember that common auxiliary verbs include be, do and have. Now let's see example. Where do we go every evening? And second example, what does Sam do after coming back home? So over here in the first example, we can see that structure of question sentence is WH word where plus auxiliary verb do plus subject we plus main verb go and followed by the rest of the sentence and question mark. right? Now let's see how do we form question sentence without an auxiliary verb. Always remember that in this case, WH words replace subjects. Okay, so the simple structure is WH word plus main verb followed by rest of the sentence and question mark. Example, who wants to be better at football? Okay, here we can see that structure of question sentence is WH word who plus main verb wants and followed by the rest of the sentence and question mark. So children, now we know how to form WH questions, right? So now let us see the purpose of each WH word and how do we respond to WH questions. First, let us see the purpose of WH word who. Who is always used to ask about a person or people. Okay, so if I ask you, who is Sam? So we can respond like, Sam is my best friend. Right, let's see one more example. If I ask you, who wants to be better at football? Yes, so we can respond in the same way. Okay, so it is Sam who wants to be better at football. Right, children, so here we are talking about Sam and Sam is a person. Next we have WH word whose. We always use whose to ask about ownership. Okay, for example, if I ask you, whose bicycle do we ride? Yes, can you guess? Okay, so the answer is, it is my bicycle. Okay, so here we are talking about ownership. Okay, ownership of bicycle. And then we have whom. We use whom to ask about a person when the answer is the object of the verb. Okay, now let's see example. If I ask you, whom do I share my bicycle with? Yes, what is the answer? Yes, you're right. I share my bicycle with Sam. Let's see one more example. If I ask you, whom do I pick up on the way to the stadium? Yes, you're right. I pick up Sam. Right. So over here we are talking about a person. Okay. So children, always remember that WH words like who, whose and whom are particularly used to ask about a person or people. Right. So children, today in this video we have learnt about WH words who, whom and whose. Okay, I hope it is now clear to all. So I'll be back soon with another video about WH words. Till then, stay safe. Bye-bye.